All right, I'm here with my main man, Tony Jones, Salt Lake Tribune. How's it going, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about Donovan Mitchell here. Donovan Mitchell, man, he's impressed me. He's got a very clean jump shot. He's obviously a lot of people said he was undersized coming in, and I just have one question for you. How good do you think this kid could be?
I think, a lot of upside is based on how hard you work, and where you come from in terms of your basketball development. So when you look at Donovan, by all accounts, he's a very, very hard worker, and he's young in his basketball development. Even by age, when he's 20 years old, but by basketball development, he's started pretty late. So that leads me to believe that he has a lot of upside. And then you look at the physical skills that he has to work with, which is his leaping ability, his raw explosion off the dribble, the defensive acumen that he already has. So, I think the couple things that have been, noteworthy to me watching him this week. A is I think he could be a point guard in this league, which was a good question because he's 6'3".
Yeah.
And he's clearly a guy who can play both guard positions. And the second thing is the way this league is going. It's a pick and roll league, and he runs the pick and roll very, very well at this age. And so I think that you take all of that into account. You look at that, and I think the ceiling is pretty high.
Definitely. Now, you say he can play point guard. There were a lot of question marks coming in about that, his decision-making and whether that would translate. I think obviously at the size that he is, I think that's probably more of a natural position for him at this point. Where do you think he fits in with the Jazz rotation moving forward just this year?
Well, I think that he's going to be on the floor early and often, maybe from day one. I think, I'm not predicting that he's going to be a starter or something like that, but I do think that he's going to be in the second unit, and I think that he'll be the second unit shooting guard, and Dante Exum will be the second unit point guard, or vice versa. I mean, those guys are pretty interchangeable with each other, not only offensively, but defensively. But I think right now the Jazz are counting on him to play minutes. So he has that baseline. Where he goes from there is kind of up to him. But I think, physically, if you look at him, it's kind of obvious that he's ready to play at this level. And I think by summer league, by what he's done in summer league, I think that he can absolutely play at this level from day one. Definitely.
Now, you talked about Dante Exum. Is there any other guys that have stood out to you in summer league right now for the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, definitely. Eric Griffin, 6'8", 6'9" power forward. The Jazz like him, and there are thoughts of signing him for the regular season. We'll see how that goes, but he's a guy who projects as an energy guy off the bench, 10, 15 minutes. He's an insane athlete, really long arms, can play a little bit when he has the ball in his hands. A lot of block shots. Just, he's like a mini version of Summer League Jordan Bell right now. Like, can just do a lot of things. Doesn't do one thing particularly well offensively, but he does a lot of things overall, and he plays really hard. So I think that's a guy.
Definitely. Now I want to talk about outside the Utah Jazz. Now you guys have played a couple of different teams in the Summer League. You've seen a couple of different games. Who has stood out to you most on this team?
Well, a couple of guys. Dennis Smith Jr. has stood out to me. Jason Tatum has stood out to me. John Collins, man. I mean, he's. I had no idea he was this athletic, and he has a real mean streak, and he's a guy that's just played really, really well. And I think, I think when Kyle Kuzma stood out to me from his 2 days, he's a guy who I always thought was going to be better in the NBA than he was in college, and I think he's proven that. It's a really good rookie class, man. So, and I'm looking forward to this game because I'm looking forward to watching Josh Jackson as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you talk about the Phoenix Suns. They go up against the Utah Jazz tonight. What are you looking for with the Phoenix Suns? Because they've got some high flyers. Obviously, Derrick Jones Jr. You've got, obviously, you mentioned Josh Jackson. But also Marquise Chris has been balling as well. Who do you think kind of stands out for them aside from Josh Jackson? What kind of stands out for you in this matchup?
Yeah, I think you look at just the entire young core. I wish Tyler Ulis was playing. But, when you look at that, just that young core that they have, that they added, Dragon Bender, Marquise Chris, Derek Jones, obviously Josh Jackson. Mike James has been really, really good. He's a guy who's showing that he can play in this league. And Davon Reed, I've been really, really impressed with him. He's a guy who came out of Miami, and, he was very, very underrated heading into the draft. And he performed really, really well in draft workouts. And he's a guy who's good off the dribble, good defensively. If he can ever get that jump shot down, he's going to be a good one.
Now, moving back to the Jazz, is this roster solidified? Is this roster done? Is this what they're going to move forward with? Is there any other free agents they're eyeing or looking out for?
Well, they're eyeing they want to add another combination forward. They want to add another big man to back up Rudy Gobert. They're talking about Willie Reed, unrestricted free agent. They have interest in Dante Cunningham. Ersan Ilyasova is also on their radar. So we'll see what works out in the next few days. They're also dangling the contract of Boris Diaw on the market. And they have to, if they're going to move that, they'd have to move that by Saturday. So they still have some irons in the fire, both on their free agent market and trade market.
Last question for you. Now, you saw Memphis play yesterday. My guy Dylan Brooks had a pretty good game. I wanted to talk to you really quick because you're tweeting out like this kid's going to be good, or this kid's going to at least have a very long-standing career in the NBA. What do you think about Dylan Brooks?
He's a guy that does a lot, man. He does everything, and he's also one of those guys, man. He just helps you win, and he's going to be able to hit that jump shot, and I think he's a guy that can handle the ball for you. Great competitor, great defender. Just does a lot of things for you, and I think he's a guy that's going to play in the league for 10 years.
All right, well, this is Tony Jones. Where can people find you if they don't know already?
Trib Jazz, TRIBJAZZ, or T Jones SL Trib, TJONES SL TRIB.
All right, thanks very much,
Thanks
man. Appreciate it.